Good evening. On behalf of the teachers, staff, administration, and the Board of Education, I welcome everyone to Kenton High School's graduation ceremony for this year's class of 2024. At this time, we ask that you stand as Kenton High School's band plays our national anthem. Thank you. You may be seated. Students, on behalf of the staff, I want you to know we are all extremely proud of you and wish you the very best in your future endeavors. You are sitting here today because you demonstrated grit, resilience, and the determination to achieve your goals. I'd also like to thank all of those who have helped make this moment a reality for these young men and women. All the teachers from elementary school, middle school, and high school, friends of these students, and especially their parents and family members here today. On our stage are members of the Board of Education, Mr. Rodney Hensel, Mr. Doug Carmine, Mr. Brad Wingfield, Mr. Brandon Ledley, and Mrs. Tasha Heidinger. Kenton City Schools Athletic Director, Mr. Brett Purcell, Student Services Director, Mr. Mike Letty, and Ohio High Point's Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Brad Richardson. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the Superintendent of Kenton City Schools, Mr. Chad Thrush.
Class of 2024, congratulations. You are about to receive your diploma and enter into the fraternity of Kenton High School alumni. As a member of this group, you will always be a representative of the Kenton City School District. Many of your parents sat on this field anxiously awaiting their diploma, and so did the next three individuals being welcomed into the Alumni Hall of Fame today. Mr. Denny Higgins was one of the voices of the Wildcats for over 20 years on our local radio station, WKTN, as he helped announce our sporting events many Friday and Saturday nights. He graduated in 1968 and went on to work at our local post office. In addition to announcing all of those games, he also coached Kenton Middle School football and basketball for many years, as well as serving on the athletic boosters. Denny's passion and enthusiasm for sports and his hometown was contagious. He and his wife had a daughter, Stephanie, who also graduated from Kenton. She is here to accept this honor on her father's behalf as he passed away in 2002. Please welcome Stephanie Dapper.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Dapper, of course, former Higgins. On behalf of my father, I want to thank Kenton City Schools and the Alumni Committee for so much for honoring my father with this recognition. He would be so incredibly proud. But to the graduates out there, he would have more than likely talked your ear off because he never met a stranger. I mean, his favorite job was being part of the Voice of the Wildcats duo with Gary Lowe for WKTN. I promise I won't talk nearly as long as he would have. Other than my mom and I and our extended family, my dad's other big loves of his life were sports and being part of the Kenton Wildcat family. From coaching to serving on the athletic boosters to broadcasting every Friday or Saturday night to eventually cheering me on at my own sporting events, he loved being a Wildcat and being in this community. The fact that I can still run into people 22 years after his passing and they mention how much they miss my dad is a true testament to his long-lasting impact. I want to thank Mike Steyer for nominating my dad for this honor and all of you that continue to remember my dad so lovingly. He loved big and he loved hard, and the Wildcats were certainly included in that. This is the highest honor he could have received from this community, and I could not have asked for a better way to remember him than for him to be included in this Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Our next Hall of Fame inductee is Miss Barbara Winsenreed, who graduated from Kenton in 1953, from The Ohio State University in 1957, and with her master's in speech pathology from Bowling Green State University in 1975. She practiced speech therapy for KCS and our other county schools, as well as Hardin Home Health. Ms. Winsenreed ended up supervising 6 counties and became the director of the West Central Ohio Special Educational Regional Resource Center. Barbara remained busy into retirement, helping with early childhood language and development for our local Developmental Disabilities Board. She also coordinated the Ohio Education Interpreter Grant to provide services to students who were deaf, blind, and hearing impaired. Ms. Winsenreed served as the first vice president and president of the Hardin County Ohio State University Alumni Association, 14 years on our library board as a trustee, and has been an active member of the United Methodist Church. Please welcome Ms. Barbara Winsenreed.
Thank you for this honor. It's very special, and congratulations to the graduates of Kenton Senior High School for 2024. I just have 2 little sentences that I would just like to leave with you, and I'm sure you'll forget them, but anyway. I want you to live your life with compassion for others, kindness, service, and sacrifice, and always have a clear sense of purpose. This world is overflowing with an abundance and opportunity. Act boldly and take your place in it. Thank you.
Our final inductee into the Kenton City Schools Alumni Hall of Fame for 2024 is Dr. Joel Coates from the class of 1966. He received his bachelor's in science and zoology from the Arizona State University and went on to receive his master's and PhD in entomology from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Dr. Coates began serving as a professor at the University of Guelph in Canada before joining the faculty at Iowa State University, where he has remained since 1978. His research in insect toxicology has been focused on natural products such as insecticides and insect repellents. Joel's scientific publications include 10 books, 7 review articles, 41 book chapters, and 142 peer-reviewed journal articles, and he also holds 9 patents. He received the International Award for Research in Agrochemicals, and he is a fellow at the American Association for the Advancement of Science, as well as the Entomological Society of America. Lastly, in 2013, he received the Alumni Achievement Award from the University of Illinois. Please welcome Dr. Joel Coates.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank my Aunt Reba for nominating me for this. And I, of course, thank my parents, Catherine Coates and Gilbert Coates. And I also want to mention, as I think back on my experience here, I got a great start at Kenton High School. And I thought, as I was reflecting on that I didn't do it all by myself. I think back and remember there were not just teachers, there were counselors, administrators, cafeteria staff, and maintenance staff, and custodial, and secretarial, and financial, and the Board of Education, and bus drivers, and a lot of money from the taxpayers of the state of Ohio. So I didn't do it by myself, not by a long shot. And for the public education institutions that I went to after Kenton, they were also complex and very complicated. And every person in every job has value, and they all contributed, and they end up with products like me and you. And so I hope we all just remember that we didn't do it by ourselves. Thank you.
Class of 2024, you have just learned about 3 former Kenton High School graduates who have made us proud of the diploma you are about to receive. Now it's your turn. This evening, this preparatory journey comes to an end. We have prepared you to go forward to meet the new and exciting challenges with courage, patience, and a deep respect for yourself and others. Good luck with all you do, and remember, no matter where you go or what you do, you will always be a representative of Kenton City Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thrush. At this time, I'd like to introduce our first class speaker, Miss Alexandra Humphreys, who will now share her thoughts with the class.
Well, everyone, today is the most important yet minuscule day of our lives. With these gowns on, today is the day that we graduate high school, something that 92% of Americans do. How can something so common be so important? Well, to put it simply, it is not. Today is just a day, and we will wake up tomorrow no different than right now. So why do we celebrate such an average event? The answer is this: we are here to recognize our change. I went to my first day of high school as a very loud-mouthed yet insecure 14-year-old. On our first day of high school, it was not quite real day. So as I logged into our Google Meets, it felt very unrealistic. To see all of my classmates as low-quality pixels on a screen was simply odd. We were so disconnected from each other, stuck at home. Our freshman year was full of hybrid classes, in and out of our beds at home for class 1 week and at a desk the other. Online school was a very unique memory that we will carry with each other and speak about years ahead, I believe. As school fluctuated and changed, so did we. Graduating seems relatively insignificant, yet I myself have been counting down the days until I was done with schooling. I feel as though I'm not the person to represent our class because of this. In fact, I turned in this speech late, similar to most things I turn in. I feel as though it should be someone who is going to not want to move forth, but frankly I do not believe that is possible. Our halls have been filled with restlessness, and our senioritis has hit so incredibly hard. We are chasing an unpolished future, and we all want to move so fast. One thing I know certainly is that we will miss it when it was gone. We will run on with our lives and reminisce on the simplicity of being a teenager. When I look back on my years of school, I make it feel like one blurry memory of classes, friends, and the important events, and I'm sure you all do it too. We are looking so strongly at what is ahead of us, and rightfully so. We as humans always crave more, and we want to experience as much as possible. But sometimes we don't understand how important our small details are. The conversations at lunch, the excitement in classrooms on Fridays because we can't wait to go to the football game that night, and even the massive senior assassin battle. These moments feel minuscule on the surface, but they are what we should treasure. I found this quote from Pink Floyd, and I've always found it important for a long time, and I feel that today is the best way to use it. For long you live, and high you fly, and smiles you'll give, and tears you'll cry. And all you touch, and all you see, is all your life will ever be. Each and every moment we have experienced will be a part of us from now until forever. I think that as young adults, we tend to rush our milestones. 20 more days, I can't wait. We are so enveloped in our next step to grandiosity that we forget to stop walking and breathe in our present experiences. Perhaps we are the class that got our ketchup packets taken away in 7th grade, but that's okay, because these memories are the stories that we will be telling sitting around a fire with our old friends and new friends in the forthcoming years, and they are the don't do these things lessons that we will tell our children. Growing up is hard and so very scary. Some of us will move on and have families to support us. Some of us are all on our own. But I'd like to think that despite our differences from growing up together, we have each other. We have community. We have classmates that care and want the best for each other. We have staff that want to watch us thrive. And most importantly, we have memories that have built us to be who we are. Keep that little note your friend wrote and the light up glasses from prom. It will mean much more to you in 20 years than it does now. So no, the act of graduating high school is not significant. What is significant are the memories made and the people we have become. And what a joy it is to experience the fear and beauty of change together. Thank you. And now I introduce to you our second speaker, Emma Mulligan.
I want you to imagine that your life is a garden. Next, imagine that every important person you've ever known and every experience you've ever lived is a flower, or a cactus, or a tree, whatever floats your boat. Many of those flowers sprouted during high school, right? Friday night football, homecoming and prom, musicals and cabaret. Friends who graduated long ago, and friends who will be in the same position in a year. It probably seems like your garden is almost full to bursting. You've made so many memories in so little time. Who knew 4 years could feel long and short? Yet, here we are. It's nearly over. Moving on to something so new after everything we've been through seems impossible. These years will only be a fraction of our lives, a blink and you'll miss it chapter. In a decade, your garden will look completely different. You'll have made new friends and accomplished new things. You'll have grown beyond Kenton, but there will always be a piece of it inside of you. And at the center of your garden, that piece will always exist. The oldest, most beautiful flowers. The memories you make and the people you meet now will always be with you. You'll always have your roots. Right now, your emotions might be all over the place. Pride at having achieved something 12 years in the making, excitement for everything new you will experience next, fear of leaving behind everything you've ever known, hope that you'll be able to achieve everything you've ever dreamed of the past few years. All of these, the most important is hope. Hope got you through a freshman and sophomore year riddled with struggles due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Hope got you through taking the ACT in the most atrocious winter weather. Hope got you through scholarship applications, playing your last high school sports game, and saying goodbye to your best friends. If your garden has ever seemed uninhabitable, hope helped it to blossom and thrive once again. It will carry you through so much more if you let it. I also want to acknowledge all the people who helped our gardens flourish. Our parents, who encouraged us every step of the way, who nurtured our gardens when we were too young to do so on our own. Our teachers, who taught us how to sow the seeds of success and who never gave up on us, even if sometimes we wanted to give up on ourselves. And our friends, past and present, who pruned us into the people we are today and who had our backs no matter what. These people saw us at our highest highs and our lowest lows and loved us regardless. They taught us that every garden needs a gardener. Remember that these people saw something in you worth loving, worth cultivating. Never doubt that you are worth their time. Someday you will pass that love on to the next generation, directing them toward a life where every day is beautiful and every flower or bush blooms. Now, I want you to take everything in, the roses, the cherry trees, even the pesky weeds, all reminders of how you made it to this moment. You survived many struggles, physical and emotional, to get here. You will face many more on the route to the next part of your life. But think about how much fuller your life will be in a few years. All you have to do is keep going. It's too cliche to say the best is yet to come, so instead I'll tell you, your garden is not done growing yet. It's your job now to make it as lovely as possible. Make those memories, find those friends, keep them close for as long as you can. You may not have been planted here. You may not have been raised here, but you're graduating from Kenton nonetheless. This town has left an indelible mark on you, and you on it. I want to restate, you will always have your roots. The lessons you've learned in high school will take you places you never could have imagined, but they will always be there to remind you where you sprouted from. Someday, you'll let your roots settle somewhere else, and your garden will thrive all over again. Thank you. Now, I am pleased to introduce your final speaker, Trent Rogers.
Throughout my education, both teachers and students alike have been quick to identify one of my defining characteristics. While I would like to say that this entailed my close resemblance to a famous celebrity or my personality, it did not. Instead, they shared the idea that I have what most refer to as an old soul, or simply that I acted old for my age. On the surface, this seems like a trait that many would like to have, as it would allow you to be more responsible and diligent in your schoolwork. That is, if your old soul was between the ages of 30 and 40. Mine was quickly identified as somewhere between the ages of 80 to 90. So instead of being referred to as Dad in conversations, I would instead be referred to as Grandpa. Although I don't really how anyone would reach this conclusion just because I listened to Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra instead of Taylor Swift, whoever that is. Aside from the fact that my car was built during the Johnson administration, I hate to disappoint you all by telling you I'm just a confused 18-year-old that has many major life decisions to make concerning my future. Who then would meet the requirements that would allow them to give advice to my class and the crowd as well? Well, from an early age, I held an interest in history, specifically that of the Second World War. And if all of you thought you were going to get away without me bringing up the war again, you were wrong. I was so enthralled by the events and participants of this conflict that I had to pursue firsthand accounts so that I could get some semblance of an idea of what it was like to experience. I have been fortunate enough to receive responses in the form of 28 total letters from these World War II veterans that played such a vital role in our nation's preservation. These individuals range in age from the youngest being about 90 to the oldest I've been in contact with approaching 104 years old. That means they're just a few years older than you all think I am by now. And more importantly, qualifies them to give you all advice. Maybe. In all my letters, most of the questions varied depending on what that individual did during the course of the war. I do, however, always end my letters with the same inquiry. To that end, that being, do you have any advice for a young person such as myself for life in general? To that end, all the veterans that responded to me have different advice, which I am now happy to pass on to all of you. In the total of nearly 3,000 years of combined knowledge that I hold in letter form. Bob Pardo, a pilot during the war, stated that he encourages young people to follow their dreams. I've received similar advice from a few other veterans, and while this may be an easy expression to say, it is a much more difficult task to accomplish. It must be remembered that these veterans had very little chance to enjoy their teenage years. When they were the same age as you and I, they enlisted to defend our country and freedoms from the Axis powers. There was no time to pursue personal dreams, as the war was a much more pressing matter at the time. We, however, are lucky enough to have the opportunity to accomplish what we set our minds to as a result of their sacrifices. But as Richard Morales, a tail gunner on a dive bomber, once told me, you must make up your mind on what you want to make your dream. Stick with it and don't give up. In order to follow your ambitions, you must have an end goal in mind. Without that, there will be no way of telling whether you have progressed towards your end goal or not. One cannot, however, just decide on a dream to pursue and wait idly by for it to be presented to you. To be successful in life, Ed Cottrell, a P-47 Thunderbolt pilot, told me to be disciplined, stay fit, study hard, and be positive. The hard work and determination theme continued with Joe Huck, another P-47 pilot, making the statement to give it all you have, and Julian Campbell, a B-26 Marauder pilot, saying don't stop, keep after it. Being diligent in your work, not only during your education, but in pursuit of your dreams, is the key to success. Through a good work ethic, large goals are within reach. And as Bud Anderson, a triple ace who flew the P-51 Mustang, told me, it is also important to live your dreams. Once you have put in the hard work necessary for what you set your mind to, you must remember to live in the moment. Live for the days where you can see your dreams become reality so that you can finally experience them firsthand. I'll leave you all on this. It's a piece of advice that yet another P-47 pilot named Robert Sharp gave me, which is perhaps the most important advice of all, and that was to, above all, keep breathing, and someday you just might live to be 101 years old like I am. Thank you.
With the class of 2024, please rise. Mr. Thrush and members of the Board of Education, it is my pleasure to certify that the members of this graduating class have met or exceeded the requirements for graduation as prescribed by the State of Ohio and the Kenton City Schools Board of Education. These young men and women are eligible at this time to receive their high school diploma. Class, present yourself. Michael Adams. Mercedes Alsop. Spencer Engelmeyer. Jaron Baker. Dylan Barlow. Luke Barnett. Riley Bachneck. Ivy Blair. Jaden Bosselman, graduating with high distinction. Joel Bowman, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Jacob Boyer. Kelsey Bressler. Kaylin Brown, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Troy Brown. Jeremiah Brundage. Haley Burris. Kelsey Bushong, graduating with high distinction. Bryn Butler, graduating with high distinction. Delaney Buxton, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Bethany Cameron, graduating with honors diploma and distinction. Garrett Campbell, graduating with distinction. Samuel Chen, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Aliyah Clark, graduating with distinction. Adam Kaufman. Preston Collins. Cohen Cook. MJ Colson Harper. Shaniel Cowan. Hannah Criswell. Caitlin Defaball, graduating with distinction. Landon Dillard. Ethan Dow. Tessa Donahue. Gracie Dunn. Haven Dyer. Angelica Forrester, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Malia Fowler, graduating with distinction. Dakota Freshcorn, graduating with distinction. Kinsley Furr. Allison Girding, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Maya Good, graduating with high distinction. Morgan Hagedorn. Shayla Hamilton. Carlos Herrera Montalongo, Jr. Carter Heidinger. Isabella Hoffman, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Autumn Holcomb. Adam Hopkins, graduating with distinction. Sarah Horner, graduating with distinction. Kale House, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Colby Howard. Kinley Howe, graduating with honors diploma and distinction. Alexandra Humphreys. Anthony Hunt, graduating with high distinction. Jasmine Johnson. Eli Cobble, graduating with distinction. Amara Kelly. Claire Ketchum, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Luke Leffler. Seth Leffler. Reese Levering. Grace Lodge, graduating with distinction. Aiden McKenzie. Jalen Mans. Magdalena Marcos. Gavin Markwell. Broden Maddox. Eric May. Jacob McMaster. Wyatt Melvin. Jace Miller. Shayla Miller. Jennifer Morris. Emma Mulligan, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Avienda Murphy. Chloe Myers. Jasadrian Orcasitas. Vivian Moore. Tristan Moore. Drayton Palmer, graduating with distinction. Madison Patton. Gavin Payne, graduating with distinction. Emily Pease, graduating with high distinction. Chloe Pleasant, graduating with distinction. Alexis Powell. Evan Preston. Anthony Puckett. Donovan Quayle. Ethan Rawl. Kira Ray, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Trenton Rogers, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Austin Rosenkrantz. Benjamin Sams. Alyssa Smith. Cade Smith. Cheyenne Sonnet. Luke Stauffer. Gracie Steele. Jordan Stockwell. Samantha Sturgeon, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Austin Sunderman. Hunter Taylor. Samuel Taylor. Braylon Thacker, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Lillian Thomas. Kyle Thrush. Tyler Watkins. Timothy Wilkinson. Haley Wise, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Lauren Woltz, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. Ethan Yoder, graduating with honors diploma and high distinction. At this time, the senior class president, Mr. Trenton Rogers, will lead the class in the changing of the tassel. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the class of 2024. Ushers, you can come forward.
count 4.